And I said, well, gee, I don't know too much about the camera. He says, oh, well, that's something you'll learn. He says, now I've got two scripts here. One's a comedy and one is this mystery horror picture. Well, when he told me the two of them, I knew I didn't want to do the comedy because that takes a certain kind of skill. First of all, skilled comedians, and I knew the horror picture I'd have a better chance with. So it was a little thing, a campy thing they now, some of the kids see, and called The Return of Dr. X. And I had Bogart in it. And Warner said to me, well, I'm going to give you this guy Bogart. And he said, for Christ's sake, see if you can get him to do something besides Duke Mantee.
Oh, I was just going to ask you if it was before or after.
Oh, after.
It was after.
In fact, as I've told many people, in those days, Bogart was considered just a good villain. Good, we call him a heavy. Any part that's a heavy, put Bogart in. In fact, I wouldn't be a bit surprised if in the first, well, probably from about 1937 or 8 to 1945, 5 or 6 or 7 years, Bogey just did one villain after another. He must have been shot 50 times and died 50 times, do you see? But any time they had a nasty character, oh, give it to Humphrey, give it to Bogey, you see. And the truth was that nobody ever thought of him as a leading man. Nobody. If you had said in those days, well, Bogart would be very good opposite Ingrid Bergman, you see what I mean? They'd say, you must be out of your mind, you know? So it was a long, tough road for him before he finally made it. And he was getting very little money, too. I think the first real lead that he got, apart from Crime School, in which he played the leading character in that, but that was just a B picture, so that didn't count, you see. Although it did count in this sense. Warner had a habit of, at the end of the year, when your option came up, he said, well, whether it was an actor, writer, director, or producer, well, what did he do in the past year? Oh, well, he did that. That made money. That made money. Okay, well, let's pick his option up. But that was it. If you were in a picture that made money, or you wrote it, directed it, produced it, or acted in it, okay, pick it up, you see. And that's the way, that was usually the basis upon which your option was picked up, you see. So, but I think Bogey got his first real lead in an A picture was when George Raft and Muni turned on High Sierra, and Raoul Walsh directed it.
Yes.
Then after that, Houston got his first picture, Maltese Falcon, and he got Bogey for that. And then I had All Through the Night, in which Bogey played the lead in.
Yes.
And I'll never forget, one of the directors on the lot said, who you got for your lead? And I said, Bogey. He says, you mean he gets the girl? I said, that's right. He says, what's the matter? You crazy or something? You know? And I said, no. You know, that's who they want in it, and I'm going to work with him.
Yes.
So it turned out, and all the time we were making it, Bogey used to say, who the hell wrote this dialogue? You know, he was always grousing, do you see? Well, for one thing, he was still not making a hell of a lot of money. He was making far less than Cagney or some of the others, you know, Flynn. But he was a hard-working, professional actor. Of course, the attitude in those days was a little different. We felt we were working. We were all happy to be getting a weekly check. It was different from New York, having to sit and wait for the phone to ring. And you made something. You saw it on the screen a few months from then. So I know it was a factory. We worked, you know, and I often say to people that we were actually doing artistic work and dealing with artistic problems of character, whether he or she would say or do this kind of thing, whether the story made sense, whether it was believable, whether it was honest, whether it was true. But we never thought of ourselves as artistes, as it were, or auteurs, as it were, do you see?
Sure.
And that's another. There are a few auteurs, I think. I think Bergman, is. Hitchcock certainly was. Even DeMille had a certain style of thing. But most of us, I think, I know for myself, and I think many others at Warner's, we wanted to do different kinds of films, do you see, all the time, a variety.